China's newest stealth fighter looks almost exactly like America's F-35. And that is not a coincidence, because the F-35's design was stolen. Not glimpsed, not guessed at. Downloaded in terabytes off American computers. This isn't a conspiracy theory or internet rumor. A man pleaded guilty in a US courtroom to helping steal it. Documents leaked by Edward Snowden confirm the scale. 50 terabytes of the most expensive weapon program in history walked out through the internet. And now the jet built on that stolen homework, the J-35, is rolling into mass production, landing on China's newest aircraft carrier and being offered for sale to countries America would never arm. Here's the bitterest part. America made it illegal to sell its very best fighter to almost anyone. China built one partly from America's own secrets and is putting it on the export market. America spent $400 billion building the F-35. China downloaded the hardest parts for free. This is the J-35. The reverse engineering stories of the past all needed something physical, a captured bomber, a sold engine. This one needed only a way in. Starting around 2007, Chinese state-backed hackers burrowed into the computer networks of Lockheed Martin and its web of subcontractors, the companies building the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. And they didn't just peek. According to documents later leaked by Edward Snowden and published in Germany, they siphoned off as much as 50 terabytes of data. Radar designs, engine schematics, ways the jet cooled its exhaust to hide from heat-seeking missiles. Australia, a partner on the program, was quietly warned of the serious damage done. 50 terabytes is a library the size of a small nation's secrets. No bomber crash-landed and no engine was sold. This time the enemy simply walked out through the internet, carrying the crown jewels. But a faceless intrusion still needs a hand on the inside. And this heist had one. With a name, a face, and eventually, a confession. His name was Su Bin. In Canada, he went by Stephen Su, a well-liked, successful businessman who ran a small aviation company specializing in aircraft cable harnesses. It was the perfect cover. Through his legitimate business, Su built a deep web of contacts across the American and Canadian defense industries and used that access to help Chinese military hackers find their targets. He told them which files mattered, pointing them at the F-22, the C-17, and above all, the F-35, while they did the digital breaking and entering. Between 2008 and 2014, the operation pulled tens of thousands of sensitive documents out of American defense networks. He was caught, and in March 2016, Su Bin pleaded guilty in a US federal court in what the Justice Department called a years-long conspiracy with the Chinese military to steal America's most advanced fighter designs. This isn't propaganda or speculation. When a man sat in an American courtroom and admitted helping China steal its stealth fighters. So, here's the question that matters. What did China actually build with it? Because the answer isn't as simple as a copy. Watch the timing because it's almost too perfect. The Espionage ran until 2014. And in 2012, right in the middle of it, a new Chinese stealth prototype called the FC-31 made its first flight. In 2014, the last year of the hack, it appeared publicly for the first time at China's big air show. Its shape was unmistakably familiar. The angular nose, the sloped lines, the twin tails of a Western stealth fighter. And yet, here's where honesty matters. It is not a photocopy of the F-35. It has two engines where the F-35 has one. It has no vertical landing lift fan. It's a different size for a different job. Serious analysts are blunt about it. The J-35 blends stolen American design elements with a real amount of genuine Chinese engineering. In other words, the theft didn't hand China a finished jet. It handed China a colossal shortcut. The J-35 isn't a photocopy of the F-35. It's what you build when you've read the other team's answers before you start your own exam. But knowing the answers and passing the test are different things. And at first, nobody even wanted this jet. Here's the twist almost no one remembers. The FC-31 was born an orphan. Shenyang built it as a private venture, hoping to sell it on the export market. And for years, it found no takers. Not even China's own Air Force seemed to want it. It was a stealth fighter, with no home. Then, the Chinese Navy came looking. It needed a modern stealth jet to fly from its new aircraft carriers, and the Orphan was reborn. A navalized version, the J-35, broke cover in 2021 with folding wings and a catapult bar for carrier launches. A land-based version followed. In late 2024, it starred at China's biggest air show, and soon it was operating from the Fujian, China's most advanced carrier. Now Shenyang is pouring over $1 billion into new factories, vowing to double its fighter output and mass-produce the J-35. The stealth fighter nobody wanted to buy is now being mass-produced on $1 billion assembly line. And that sets up the most ironic chapter of all, because this jet's whole reason to exist is the one thing America refused to do with its own. Remember the F-22, the best fighter America ever built? America passed a law making it illegal to export to anyone, ever. Even the F-35 is sold only to trusted allies, its secrets tightly guarded. China is doing the exact opposite. The J-35 was designed from the start to be sold, and in June 2025, Pakistan's government publicly pointed to a Chinese offer of 40 J-35 stealth fighters, along with radar planes and air defense systems. By May 2026, Pakistan's Air Force leadership was speaking openly of an initial agreement to acquire the jet. One J-35 was even filmed stripped of Chinese Air Force markings, the telltale sign of an export model. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and others are reportedly circling too. If it goes through, it would be a watershed. For the first time, a nation outside the Western Club would field a true stealth fighter, sold by China. America made it illegal to sell its best fighter. China built one partly from America's stolen data and hung a price tag on it. But before we hand China the crown, the gap between the headlines and the runway is still very real. Because the hype keeps outrunning the truth. In March 2026, viral posts claimed Pakistan had already received its first 6 J-35s. Pakistani officials flatly denied it. No jets, no photos, nothing. The realistic delivery date is 2027 at the earliest, and Pakistan's own defense minister had earlier waved off the whole thing as existing only in the media. And there's a deeper limit, the same one that has haunted every Chinese stealth program. Stolen files can show you the shape of a fighter, but they can't hand you the mastery to build its engines, fuse its sensors, or forge the combat experience that makes a jet actually dangerous. Those, China still has to earn the hard way. Stolen blueprints can teach you what a stealth fighter looks like. They cannot teach you everything it took to build one. But make no mistake, if Shenyang truly cracks mass production, the sheer number of Chinese stealth jets becomes a problem no amount of American quality can simply wave away. So, step back and look at the whole arc. China's J-10 borrowed the ghost of a dead Israeli fighter. Its J-20 could steal a stealth shape, but not build the engine to match it. And now the J-35 stands on America's own stolen homework, heading for mass production and for sale. Here's the lesson that ties all three together. Copying America's bomber, the Tu-4, took a world war and 3 crash-landed planes. Copying Britain's engine took a naive government and a signed deal. Copying the F-35 took a login and a hard drive. Reverse engineering has gone digital, and there are no borders on the internet and no crash site to photograph. To be fair, the J-35 still has everything to prove. It hasn't been tested in real combat, the Pakistan deal isn't flying yet, and deliveries are years away. But the pattern, hack it, mirror it, sell it, is impossible to ignore. And that idea of an enemy's own weapon being turned into a copy has one story stranger than all the rest. Next, we're telling you about the American missile that lodged itself inside a Soviet jet without exploding, and effectively mailed its own blueprints to Moscow. You won't want to miss it. Stick around.